Okay, hello everyone. Thanks for joining the stream. Today we're going to do some development on an app that we're working on that's going to teach you how to code in Godot's GDScript programming language. It will be free and open source. And before we move forward, I want to ask if the sound is okay or if I need to bump it up. Can you tell me in the chat if sound is good? Sound good, sound good. I guess there's a bit of delay. Okay, perfect. So this app is part of our Kickstarter campaign that you can see right there. It's been entirely funded through the Kickstarter. We're making a course that will be paid and an app that will be free and open source that we'll also use for some assignments in the course. It's a course to learn to code from zero. Well, if you've watched the videos these days, we talk about it in every single video. So here are all the tasks that I want to get to today. I don't know if we'll have time to tackle them all on the stream, but we're going to be doing UI development. So if you want, we have the app here and epilepsy warning. The current version you're going to see is very broken because we're making breaking changes. So you have some lessons in there. So this is very much in development. This is mostly to test the mobile navigation, the web navigation, those kinds of things. And you have the app's interface here that is being restyled at the moment, right? Where you can enter code, you can have a running game there, you can inject new code in the game, filter it, do all kinds of things. But for now, we need to complete the new interface before we can plug everything back together, all the technological bits, to then release a demo. This will most likely happen after the Kickstarter campaign, as we to release a demo this week would have to do lots of hacks, right, to put it together and make it work. Instead, we chose to focus on quality code and release it after the campaign. So the video bitrate is too low. I think it's about 7,000, and that should be about the maximum I can get you with this internet connection. So yeah, it's 7,000 kilobytes per second. The app's going to be open source, yes. All right, let's get started. So the first task is going to be styling the code editor and the buttons. And then updating the code syntax, highlighting the code for that. So as far as the code editor, I'll put it on the other screen. I'm gonna go grab the app design, and here it is. You can see what we're going for. I don't know if I can style the code numbers, but I'll see for the scroll bar. I don't know that I can style it separately either of that. I'm not working on this alone. If you are on the Discord, there's an admin called Xananax. He's doing all the backend. He's got a lot of experience with server code and web stuff, right, in the tech industry. So he's working with that. All right, here's the code editor. Doesn't look like much for now, and I'm gonna go inject my theme in there to work on this scene. So that's how it's looking at the moment. Okay, what do we have? And we need some margin at the back, below the code editor. So between the editor and the buttons, we're going to need some margin between the buttons, more space. And then I want to see, there we go. You can see the sidebar is the same color. So here I should be I'm in Godot 3.4, yes. And let's work on the theme. There's a video coming about that tomorrow. And we're going to load, where's the lesson panel? No, I don't want it here. I want it in I can't jump to it from here, from the favorites, because I want it in my theme editor. Okay, let's open the theme and let's see if I can. No, I can't drag and drop it, right? I need to add the preview. What if I copy the path? Copy the path, enter the path in there. No, you don't want me to do that. Okay, folder works. Right, and no, this is not the lesson panel. Excuse me, I'm getting a bit tired with the Kickstarter campaign. So I want this one. And it's the code editor. There we go. So this is a new feature in Godot 3.4. You can now have directly your UI in the theme editor, and you can select the components and those kinds of things, right? Select the button here. I can change the styles on the button and whatnot. The problem I have here, the first one is changing the scroll bars color is going to be a bit difficult because it's common to everything. So I think this one will be a bit tricky. Can I change? I can change the styles on the text editor for the icons, etc. The fonts, some constants, completion lines. Can lower that, but we're not going to use that too much. Line spacing is fine. And then we can change the colors. Default colors for lots of things, so we're going to do that. How about the font? It's using Source Code Pro, and I think we wanted to use a different mono font in there, and it should be this one, right? I'm gonna go back. Well, I can work from the new interface as well. Not on the V scroll bar. We're going to grab the code editor and drag and drop our code font. Is it correct? I think the font data then is incorrect. We have Open Sans, Source Code Pro. What was the font? Let me check. Open Sans. No, we don't have a specific mono font in there. All right. What I think at least is the size is a bit small for the text. And yeah, that should be good for now. Okay. Space between this and the buttons here we need. So we're going to use a VBox container and increase the separation. Or no, for the buttons down there, the row of buttons, I think we're going to use a margin container to add some margin around them. There we go. Then we have the view mode toggle. Okay, and solution button we're going to hide. In the row, we're going to, let's see in the theme if we add the HBox container thing in the theme. I'm going to try to get the chat there. Make this picture a bit small. Make this a bit small. He is using Godot for the app, and I want to know why. The reason why I'm making this in Godot is, for one, it's a productive framework to make applications, but more importantly, there's the GDScript parser inside of it, right? And that makes it so we directly have access to the language server and those kinds of things, as it's part of Godot. So if you want to have it outside, you'd need to extract the GDScript parser, compiler, the warning system, and those kinds of things, the language server most likely, from the Godot engine, and make a custom executable that is going to run on a server and all. That might be something we might have to do it for performance reasons at some point, but for now, we're keeping it this way. But Godot for app development is pretty good. There's even, we're not using it yet as we're in development, but there's how is it called? There's a performance mode. I don't remember how the setting is called, but where you tell the app when to update, so it doesn't calculate 60 frames per second, but instead it just updates when you ask it to. So only when you change the UI and all, which allows you to really improve performance a ton on mobile devices and all. Save battery. Okay, so now I was working on this. So one problem is this view mode toggle doesn't look too great, but let's see. We're going to change the separation for the HBox container. That's what I was looking for. And then Resman is going to answer some of your questions as well. He should be there right now. And the reason is if I keep looking at the chat too much, I'm not going to be able to move forward too fast because I tend to lose focus. All right. So I guess this does the job. I guess we want a bit more and we want the buttons to be a bit wider. So I'm going to increase the minimum size. 140, 160. Okay. The buttons might have to customize at some point because we're a bit limited with the looks of them. And perhaps here I need some theme overrides for, can I change I guess the font color would be, or maybe I'm going to try to add it as the theme default. So again, I can use the picker, select the button, and here there's the H separation with the icon. It's definitely too small. Are you working? Or are you crashing? No, I need to click the plus here. And then so those themes are really how you want to style your user interfaces in Godot. Do I have a color for the font, like a modulate color? And I think I don't, right? For the icon. Okay, font color, we're gonna go with that light gray. And the idea is to have the icon be a little bit darker. So there you go. Right now we can't have too much more, but all right, while lacking some press styles. Interesting, when I press the button, the icon changes color, so there's definitely something in there. I have to figure out where that is because I'm not sure. Okay, we have the normal. We don't have a pressed style, so we're going to override. Everything for the button, and we're gonna go to the panel styles. I have the normal one. I call them button. I tend to save everything as resources like that, just to be able to edit them on the disk. So this is going to be button pressed. Okay, so now when I press the button, it just goes back to the previous style, the normal one, but it does make the icon blue. And does anyone know? Yes, this is Godot 3.4. This is why the theme editor looks like that. Where's the icon? Is there... option button, texture button. I'm gonna look into the button API to see. I have base button and then icon. So those are just the methods. We have the style boxes in there, the font separation, align, I call control node. Maybe this is the... No, this is weird. I would expect font color pressed. What if I make it blue? Okay, when you press the button, I can do that. Make it blue, perhaps. I do need to change the V-scroll bar as well. I would like to know what is currently styling my icon, right? Does anyone know? Can download open source. Button styles. Yeah, the thing is, the I don't see in the those button styles. Those style boxes are just for the background, right? Then the colors I have are for the font, and they don't affect the icon. So the element comes from elsewhere. Probably what happens a lot with Godot is the if you want the UI elements when you see them might be using multiple things. So we're going to go to the source code and we're going to look for, oops, we're going to look for icon. Okay, it's a texture. Button get icon. So the icon is just a texture. Icon normal color, icon hover pressed color. See, it's coming from somewhere else. It's a theme color. Okay. With Godot, a big advantage is you have the source code and it's very easy to read overall, like all the nodes and those kinds of things. Every property you see in there, default font and whatnot, you can just search it in the source code. It's named the same way. And this makes it very, very convenient. Now, the question is, where are my... going to... The new editor, I'll mention that. The new theme editor has a new window to manage everything you overwrite, right, compared to the theme. So you can have the editor theme, the default, and so I can look for icons here, right? Close, that's the general theme, icon margin. So this one, I just don't know where this property comes from, like where it's defined. So button colors, icon color hovered and pressed. This is weird. Okay, let me just see. I can't expand the window, so... Okay, we're going to add those two and import them. And now I have them. Okay, so those ones seems like they came from the Godot editor, right? And so because of that, they weren't available by default in my button. So I had to go find them in the Godot editor theme. I guess that it's not something you use too often, so this one's not exposed by default. So hover color is black and press color is okay. And I don't have an icon color normal, right? Editor theme, icon color. I have the hover and press, but I don't have the normal. And it's not affected by the font color. So that's a bit weird. Might be something missing there. Okay, icon on hover, we're going to make it... Okay, what I would like is gray by default, right? Like that kind of gray. And then when you hover, make it white. And then icon color pressed, like the button, right? The whole button turns blue. Okay, I think that's all good as I'll get for now. We're going to just keep the icon. And then this button is... it's something we coded, so we'll have to change this to the problem is so in the design, the artist Kay Lusberg, who's making everything for us, made it like that. But the problem is, well, if you click it, you're going to understand what it does, right? The idea was to condense the button options, but without the labels, it's not so accessible, right? The buttons without labels are not the best way to do things. So for people to understand what the interface does, right? You're better off with an icon plus a label, and you can translate it and those kinds of things. So this is like the visibility options. At runtime, I think they're disconnected right now from the lesson thing. Yeah, they're not working. So the idea is they would hide the game or show the in-game console or those kinds of things. Well, at least we're starting to have a theme that looks something nice for the code editor. And now I just have one issue with it. It's that the code editor is currently having those round corners here. You can see them right from the rest of the theme, and I don't necessarily want that. So what I'm going to do now is, do we make it, this is a panel container. Well, the type is code editor, but it's probably, yeah, it's extending a panel container. And then inside somewhere, the slice editor, this one is going to be the actual code editor. So for this one, what can we do? Can we add some margin? If I can add some content margin to the panel style in here, it's fine. So if I go there, expand margin. No, I don't think that helps much. I'm in the normal style, right? Corner radius. One thing I can do probably is cheat with the border. I know it's editing the buttons. So that's not what I want to do. I want to go to, well, I have to get used to that color picker. Still used to the old way of editing things. Okay, I don't get what the expand margin does. It seems to push everything to the edges, like to push the content box or something, but doesn't do what I want. Border width. Okay, I have a good cheat here so that I can use a border the same color as the rest, and that's giving me my margin. So that's a good little cheat, and now it looks a bit better, right? I'm going to make the border a bit better, a bit larger. I wish, like in Blender, you would have something like you can select multiple properties and edit them all at once. That's something someday we could contribute to Godot. That'd be great. Okay, so let's see our code editor. The scroll bar is a bit chunky, but it's the same we use that other place. One thing that's weird is I would like this to be, maybe it's in the, let's see the script in there. I'm going to go. So you'll see me use Emacs for code because I'm more used to doing it. I guess it's the code editor and answer that we use to set the properties in there. Yeah, syntax highlighting. Okay, we don't have the wrapping on by default. And I think we should use it because this might be a bit... okay, wrap enable. And it's going to be wrap enable as a name property. All right, let's see if... Yeah, the wrapping is there. So that way we don't have the horizontal scroll bar. Then a bit later, I want to make it so the users can resize the things, right? All right, so that kind of does it for the base styles for the code editor, right? This is done, and now updating the colors for the syntax highlight. So this is mostly going to happen here, although I saw that there are some that are part of the theme. Excuse me, I need to move this. Go back to my files to grab the color theme in here. Right. So we're going to have a couple things in there. I'm going to change my colors. So I need to see also the other mockup. right? And I'm not sure. So I guess the red is going to be for... Okay. Okay, so we have function calls. This is class name in purple, the built-in keywords and functions in red. The green, I guess it was for the X and Y, but we can't really... Maybe we can do that. Maybe we can color the XYZ. We'll see. The yellow is for strings, and this is the default color. So, all right. We're going to make it. Class is a 00BA, I guess. We're going to have the member. Member is... I don't think there's the member color in there. We're going to see what we do in a moment. So we're going to keep that for now. The color for the built-in keyword is going to be FF1852, and the color for the quotes is going to be FFF540, right? And for the comments, it's going to be probably for B63. I guess that does the job. And so the member color, because I wonder if the function call is using that color. We'll have to check, but 26C, 6F7. All right. I'm going to move that back up as well. Nope. I guess I need to keep the two of those in there. All right. So if I go to Godot and I play, you can see some colors change, right? I'm not the most fond of the color theme we have right now, right? And I think the member color, I'm not sure if it's working because I'm not sure. It should be more like that bright blue. Okay, so we're going to change the colors in the theme, and then we'll see later if we redesign that, but I'm going to stick to what the artist sent us for now. All right, so bookmarks, I'm not going to use them. Can I expand? I can't expand the bottom panel. I think I wish we could expand that panel horizontally to take the entire space. It'd be nice. So caret color, blah, blah, blah. Exit, okay, the line overlay, function color. We're going to use that blue. Line number color. I guess we can use one of our theme colors. All right, that's also going to be our comment color. But we don't have the comment color by default, right? Member variable is going to be this red. Or do we go with the blue as well? Or the green? Make them all off. The red, purple. No, I'm not too fond of the colors for that. I think we need to find something else. But well, we're going to go with blue for now. The number colors, yeah, we don't have a color for the numbers yet, I guess. Safe line selection symbol. This is going to be the default text color. No, it's the font color that we want to change, so a bit brighter. Then we don't have, where is that? Okay, so the brace mismatch is going to be our kind of red pink. I can't, yeah, I can only get the node, of course. This one, the built-in things, I don't see it in the list. So we're gonna go there, editor theme, we're gonna go to text edit, because that must be in the Godot editor theme, and the caret color, font color, selection color. All right. Keyword color. Okay, let's see. Accent color, axis colors. Because if you want in the theme resources of Godot, you can add any data you want. So you can create custom styles for new kinds of nodes that you code from the control nodes. Selection color. Okay, let's go down to text edit. Where is it? Here. Caret font. Selection colors. Yeah, I just don't see it. So we're going to keep it in the code for now. And our color theme looks like this at the moment. And it's a bit weird just that the functions are getting like that. And some built-in is getting like a blue tone. Member color. The keyword are getting, okay, add keyword color, class name with the class color, member color for this one. Okay, let's go to we do agree that this one is using, because one thing I have to check is if I pick this one, yeah, I can't see the color right away with that. So pick the color. It's the color for keyword, yeah, of course. Pick the color, and we're going to enter this one. Okay, it's using my blue normally. All right, I'm just going to do this. I don't know if it makes a difference, but this is weird because I'm not seeing this color in Godot. The color for the classes is going to be purple. Color for the quotes is going to be the yellow. And color for the comments is going to be, which one was it? I think it was this one, right? API client tool. Okay, lots of discussion in the chat. Keep chatting. It's pretty cool to see. It's quite lively. Yeah, I don't know why I'm not getting this bright blue in here, right? I want to just make a change, see if I change that, and I make it the green, for example. I play. Aha. The function color is not changing. So which one is it then? That's why I was having trouble with that. All right. So, well, as usual, we jump to the docs. This feature of Godot is really amazing. I mean, I can't believe that we work with game engines and most of them just don't have that built in. You have to go online, wait for the page to load. The question about when the stream will finish, at 10, so in an hour and a half or 2 hours. Maybe we'll keep going a bit longer. And the question is, when will it come out? If you're talking about this app, the app itself should come out in a demo version, like alpha, after the Kickstarter campaign, so in November. Member variable color, code folding color, function color. Okay, so I need to change those, right? We're going to do this like, okay. Text edit dot member variable color is going to be color member, because there are all the built-in ones that come with that. So function color, it doesn't complete. Function color is the member color for now. And then we'll refine the theme moving forward, and maybe member variable. Okay, I just saw that. What was it? Is it the theme property? Okay. How do you get the theme property already? I have to go to the theme resource, and I know there's get theme property item. Okay, and then there's set theme item, data type, name, node type, and the value. icons, the theme item of data type to value at name and node type. Okay, and set color. Set the theme's color for the given node type. So I guess this is what we're looking for. Do we have access to the... because this is looking like you only have access .theme.set theme color. I guess. All right, so let's see that. It doesn't... theme? I access the theme, and then I access... why doesn't it set color? All right, so this is going to be... this is function color. And we're going to... the node type is going to be text edit. And the color is color member. Or color to completion. This is nice. And we're going to grab our member variable color next and do that as well. And let's see if we get an error. Set color and base null instance. So my theme is considered not set on the text edit. Okay, the thing is, I would like to set this directly on the theme resource in there. Right, but okay, what if I add function color? I have it here. Yeah, but member variable color, I have it here as well, right? I can change it. And the blue appears right there. Because yeah, this is, I think this is the default color. Okay, we need a color as well for something a bit nicer for the numbers, but the numbers get overridden as well at runtime. So why is that? Because you can see the colors here look different. We don't have... okay. We don't have a keyword color in here. Okay, there's definitely something a bit strange going on in there. We don't do anything with colors in here. The slice editor, I think it doesn't do anything with color either. It's really this script that takes the text edit node and just runs it through, like set some defaults, add some color regions and some keywords, right? And that's about it. Member in class DB, get class property list, add the keyword color for the class names, and to the keywords, and we use the keywords, which should be red. So that's working, right? It's using a bright red for the keywords. For the classes, it's adding the purple, which isn't too readable, so I think this one will have to change. But the functions... okay, what do we get if I comment this out and we rely more on the theme? Yeah, we don't get any of the classes, we don't have any of the keywords highlighted, so we lose quite a lot. Why does export... it's because there's a parenthesis, so it thinks it's a function call. Okay. All right, I'm going to log that in Emacs, and I'm gonna call it like this is on hold, and I need to write down changing colors for functions in blue. Okay, and that was the numbers. All right, and I'm going to put that on hold to not keep the stream too boring. Add nesting support to revealers. So, okay, we're done with some changes on the code editor. This thing, I think, like, I'll have to rework that. Actually, I should write it down. Rework the toggle button for the code editor, right? But this is going to be a low priority. Why this? Because it limits the minimum width of the code editor, and I want to add the ability to resize things for the user. And so if you remove that, you will see that this is really the buttons that are setting this. So I do want a minimum size of something perhaps like that. So if I go to my slice editor, I'm going to reset the editor layout to the default, and I do want the minimum size here to be, this is 500. So yeah, I do want this to be at least, I think we can't go much smaller than that. So yeah, okay, 400. Let's see if we can save some space perhaps somehow, but minimum size around 500 pixels, right? And then it resets to the previous one. Okay, that should do the trick. We can do a couple things to save a bit of space. I think the tab width, we have control over that. The numbers on this side, we don't really have control over the size because those things are hard-coded in the text editor in Godot. Well, it's much better than coding your own because it supports lots of stuff for you, which is kind of what we need in this app. But well, okay. We're going to move to the lesson panel. Give me a second, people, to just warm up my coffee. And I'll be right there. I'm going to cut the mic and I'll be right back. Okay, let's keep going. I'll put the chat back. Thank you very much, Gatsy. Please tell me, I hope I pronounce your name well. You better add horizontal scroll for the editor. It is there. It's automatic, but right now line wrapping is on. So we can add some options to unfold things, all those kinds of things. But as you can see, in most often you'll have the thing expanded. We'll see what works best, right? We'll change this. Why is there blood on the floor? Can I get a shout out? Shout out to Xandro Jed. I hope I'm saying the names fine because I'm probably murdering everyone's name. Okay, so now the next step is on the revealers, which use a button. So now they use the blue style when expanded. That's interesting. So maybe we'll have to do some group stuff or just override the styles on this, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to go to my revealer scene. So I made it a scene to easily change the button in there. And theme override styles, the pressed style for the button is going to be button normal. and that should do the trick, right? That doesn't. Great. Let's see. It's the pressed, focused, empty. Press is normal. Focus is normal. Normal is normal. Shouldn't have to do that, but why when no, nothing to. It's the font color. All right. So the font color pressed should be. Maybe we can do it white. Or maybe we go back to, I think it's this one that we use. Okay, and that's enough because we don't want them to get in the way too much. And the hover color, I don't know if we want it like that, but maybe we need to change the color a little bit when the thing is expanded. I'm gonna add another color a bit lighter. Yeah, okay, that should do. Well, the app also teach math like calculus, graphs, etc. So okay, we're going to focus first on teaching GDScript syntax, right? Math specifically, no. If you want to learn math, right, you're better off going to Khan Academy, which is a really strong website. Then, as far as teaching things for code, the idea is over time, of course, to build upon the app that we have. I hope that as it's going to be free and open source, that some teachers from around the world are going to contribute to make some assignments and those kinds of things. And I think some simple assignments about data structures would be good. Some things about algorithms would be good. In GDScript, it's not necessarily the best language because it's not fast, but to learn at least that can be interesting. But we'll see. An editor as player should write some function that will be evaluated runtime. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean in there. I don't think I said anything about that, like how it works technically. All right, so what we need to do in there is add the ability to nest revealers, and I'm not sure. I think we want an API to do that, and we don't want to just do that. Because yeah, what's happening is when you put a revealer as a child of another, it appears there, right? But then it messes. I know it's kind of supported already. Just the heights are off. So when we expand one, and then we expand the next one and fold, then that fails and that fails. Why does it preserve the height there? If I fold this one and expand it, it resets. So there are some calculations that are definitely off there. I see that this gets cut on the right, so this is pushing too hard to the right. The padding on the left is working fine. It's working a bit better than I thought. Thank you very much, Slacks. Okay, Paradise Fallen, like player writes some function that required dependencies. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't get the thing. Cal, yes, you will get the course in the Ultimate Bundle. Thanks much for the support, Slacks. Okay. So this one, let's see how the code works, because this is a custom container that folds, so it's a bit harder to manage than the other things. So here's the code for the revealer. Padding, chevron size. Okay, let's see. First, one thing at a time, I'm going to write this down. Expand H horizontally is the first bug, and the second is vertical size. when expand and fold. And I want to get into a realistic situation first, which is how it will be in the course. I'm going to have nested hints in there, right? And then inside of those, I'm going to have something like the goal, right? So I think normally things should be invisible by default, probably. So we'll add those at runtime, right? Normally when we expand there you go. This is really broken, right? So the computation of the total size is off because the size, I think, of the revealer itself is off. It should push the checks down there, but probably the whole bounding box is looking something like that, right? And so the checks are right below this revealer at the top. You can see that in some cases, this is really when I fold and unfold that when everything is unfolded, the correct size is computed. For better experience, scripts must be written as script game. You'll write there just a module. Yeah. So to teach basic syntax or like if you want to have the full experience of learning to code in Godot, at some point you need to get into Godot because the nodes are so important. I'm not going to recreate Godot inside the app, at least not for now. So there's this limitation that in this app, you're going to work on a small chunk of code at a time, one script at a time. You have support for multiple scripts, by the way. So you're not limited to one. Technically, we support that, but we don't support editing the nodes. We don't have an interface to create nodes, to move them, etc. And that's not planned. So there you go. But you have code tabs and those kinds of things already. All right, first I want to fix the horizontal thing. Let me see why this is happening. So I'm going to fold that, make it a bit smaller, and to tidy things up. And so if I go to the revealer, the button stays fixed, but I think, let's see the size flags. Yeah, it expands horizontally, so it's pushing everything to the right, which is what we see when I expand in there, because the whole line is the button. And it's pushing the chevron out of there, right? And then this one is part of the button, so it's really only the button that's taking too much space. And this means that the revealer itself is when we expand it. So I guess it's linked to this function. We have the chevron, we rotate it. Is that causing the issue, right? Because that little arrow, the way it's rotating right now is a bit... No, when you expand it, it even goes back to the side. Let's see, by the way, if I can fix that. There's an offset to the pivot. So that should be... Okay. There's an offset, but it's not centered on the icon. But if I do that normally, yes, it rotates around the pivot. So we're going to use that. I'm going to set it there. Right. It seems better. Okay. I'm going to start committing things as well because I'm doing quite a few things. So app theme style box, code editor. Okay. Then code editor and answer, okay. And that's it. Okay, so all right, and the revealer right now we need all right. Now, as far as the width, I'm trying to think as to what is causing that. Make the nodes visible. I think there's no particular code the y rect min size. So when updating the minimum size, which we do, I think when we okay. Rect size. Yeah, by default it's not updated yet. So I have to go to this function and rect min size button dot rect size dot y is going to be like that. Is expanded rect min size each node's in there, right? When we expand the thing. Okay. I want to see if it prints. I'm printing in the loop. 725. And this would be the size of my either lesson panel. Nope, the inner panel. Where is it? The column. It takes the size of the column, even if it's offset to the right a little bit, right? By the padding of the parent container. So if I grab the scroll, yeah, it takes this column. Then if I take this one, so the rect size is 725. And then the goals rect size is not updated right now. 701, which seems correct, right? But if I put the hints in there, the rect size is 725. So it's grabbing the size from its parent, unlike the panel container that we have in there. So there's an error, and I know that the issue is the padding doesn't get applied to the child. So let's see. When sorting the children, we apply the node padding. So fit the child is where we do that. Excuse me, I'm going to increase the size for you guys and girls watching. How will the courses be managed? Will it have a marketplace? Nope. We're just going to publish the app online. You can access it, and it'll come with some courses. And I don't know if really people need that. We can add some button where you can upload the courses, because technically it's just a bunch of data. So that might just work. All right. Fit the child. So it's too big for me. Can't see. So the size minus the node padding. Fit child in rect. So we calculate a rectangle, the position and size, and I want to print the rect. Okay, we're going to do it like that. We're going to print the controller name. And no, I want you to give me the rect. Okay, so it's printing some stuff in there. And if I expand the hints, and again, okay. Okay, so hints 2, hints 3, 24701. This is correct. This is correct. Yet when I select it there, it's not, right? So let's see if I can force that. Control rect size.x is equal to size.x, right? If I do this, it doesn't make any difference. No, it's still going too far to the right. Yes, I'm working in Emacs Doom. get it because the button, when it says the button, is the button of the hints node itself, right? Because it's fitting the child. Then hints2 has the correct size, but it doesn't because the rect size is too big, right? And I think, oh, the minimum size is getting changed. Aha, I think I get it. Update the minimum size when we go there. The editor doesn't support that. Okay. Maximum button dot rect size dot x. Maximum between the two. Your current rect size. No. The rect min size is going to be the button's rect size, I guess. And does it work if I do that? But it doesn't. The button doesn't expand. But this is the place where we cause the problem, basically, because then the rect min size is taking all the space it can, and it's taking the current rect size that it inherited from the parent, most likely. And yeah, the code is preventing me from setting that. So how does it get set to that? The problem is the max, as soon when you use with the tool mode and all, when you start to use the max function, rect min size is equal to rect size. There you go. But the problem is, and if I remove that, the problem is the problem is the same. Okay. Because I think it's that. I think it's the parent node that's really pushing. Yeah, because this is the only place we change the minimum size, right? Rect size.x, because when the button expands, it pushes the bounding box, and then we set that to the rect min size to kind of solidify that width, from which we can set can kind of force. I'm not sure exactly how to get this to work, actually. We have Razvan here. Any idea? I know that the UI stuff is a bit esoteric, but I think one problem, if you want, what I'm trying to do here is, you see when I play, you can see the chevron here, but if I expand, for a regular node, there's some padding added and it fits the container, but for nested revealers like that, it has the same size as the parent and it expands until outside of there horizontally. But then the other children, no problem, they kind of stop. Well, no, this one is getting a bit chopped here as well. So I want to be able to nest those revealers, right? But horizontally, they always get past the width. And the problem is the width is a 725 pixels in this case. And the child has the same thing, but I would like to subtract the padding. The problem being, I guess I can do this. Where do we update the node padding? Because if you want, what's happening is the parent revealer is sorting the child revealer, but the child revealer is also then updating its minimum size by itself. Yeah, but even if you don't set the Well, there are some problems with that. You have to set the min size because they are parent containers, so you don't have a choice. Yeah, just if someone is writing insults in the chat, just ignore. Razvan will take care of removing them. So yeah, because you can see it's in a VBox container, so you have to set the minimum size. I wish we didn't, but we do have to. And being tired to fix those kinds of bugs is not the best. So when sorting the children, we first update the minimum size, then we go over. Okay, so first it's not. I see. Maybe that's the issue. For node in, do we use the index? Else first margin if index equals 1. For child in well, for node in I think that's that because I had added this. All right, so going to remove that and change it for node and if the node is not visible, we continue. Then the padding, we don't have the index here anymore. So why was the padding? We just have to, we don't have to do that anymore. This simplifies the code actually. Padding, first margin, else children margin. Top plus margin. Okay, first margin, children margin. It's because, yeah, the way the nesting was done before, you had different margins. First child, then the others. So you have an extra padding for the first element, right? Okay, I guess we're going to have var index 0, index plus equals 1. And if index is 0, I know, else children margin. But I think this is not necessary anymore because this was okay. We had some legacy code in there. I see. Let's see now. This helps. Now this is even more broken. Great. Okay, what's happening now? Update the minimum size. All the children, right? The contents, blah, blah. Why is it problematic in there? You fit the child. Top plus margin. Padding. Let me see what this does. Index. It expanded for node in contents. I think maybe I need to do this here, right? Height equals top. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So now it doesn't move the child down correctly. So the horizontal padding, no problem. Top, however, has an issue, right? height equals button at rect size at y. Control that. So you have the position is off. That is very clear. So I'm gonna do this height plus margin, and it should get at least the first node correct. There you go. And then the others, and we need to offset them one by one. All right. Okay. This does not expand anymore, but at least we're moving forward. So the problem is I need to update the height here. Height plus equals. Okay, the top here returns top plus height of the node. Okay. Top plus margin. Top equals height to start with before the loop. Okay, okay, okay. Not bad. We're getting somewhere. And when folding and re-expanding, the computed height is correct, but in other cases it's not, right? You can see how the checks thing moves. It has to do with the computed height of the revealer being incorrect, and I wonder if there are some things that are just not up to date. I'll have to see. Height is... Do we use height? Okay, so I think just this code is not necessary. Okay, just remove that. We update the top variable. Then we have the height. And where is the height used? So we compute the height when sorting the children and update the minimum size, but we don't use rect mean size as the revealer height, but instead it should be our computed height. If height is greater than 0, else I guess we can do the, what was it, revealer height is going to be the minimum. Let's just see if, whoa, that's way too big. Why is that? I think it's setting its rect min size and then it's using the button's rect size. And so because, let me see if I set the revealer, make it bigger. The button shouldn't be expanding vertically, right? Just, if I don't even fill the space, does it create the same issue? Huh. What's the purpose of void in declaring your function? It's to get errors. If you put a return statement in there, return 0, for example, you're going to get an error. A void function cannot return a value. It's just part of being consistent about typing, right? So we use type hints. We get the completion in there. Actually, I need to restore it because I removed it for a tutorial. Completion at type hints, right? Yeah, I don't see the removed messages, but I'm wondering what people are thinking or what they're doing. Like, we're pretty liberal about what you can write in the chat, so I guess it's insult every time. That's basically the main thing we'll kick you for, or remove your messages. full, and that's it. Okay. So what is my height? Rotate the chevron, and why do we go to, what do we use the height? I think the height, because it's undocumented, I imagine the height was for the height of the revealer, but this one should be fixed, right? It's revealer height, always, 32 pixels. So the min size Y is revealer height. The rec size of the button becomes the revealer height. Okay. Then, when we expand the revealer, sort children gets called through the notification. So we start from the bottom of the button, right, for the top. Then we loop over the children and we add some margin, and then we add the height of the thing, right? That's what we get from fit child. Fit child is top is what we get plus height. So we expand it by the height. This is the top of the node, and we get that. And so we store it into top, and when we're done looping, we assign that to the height. Okay, and then, yeah, that's the thing, because we take the height there. We need to set the height of the whole container. And the button we never should have, we never have to change it, I think. If is expanded node rec. This is why. We could simplify the code here. Okay. This is why we're adding the height twice. And there we go. Starting to look a lot better. Is there a reason for prepending functions with an underscore? Yes, it's for the intention. So there are two cases. One is pseudo private. It's to say to other developers in your team, don't access that from outside this script, right? So this is like the private, you would have the private keyword in other languages to prevent that directly. But we do this as a convention like in Python. But another case in Godot is to indicate that it is a function you should override, like fit child, I'm not sure. Do I have one ready, for example? This one has an underscore in Godot, and it's built in. It just means it does nothing by default. You need to override it to do something with it. All right, so fixing the revealer height is mostly done. There's just that thing like it doubles in there. And I think there's something with some margin that gets added. So gotta figure it out and then make it full width again. And so the full width, we're going to do this like that. Normally the revealer, the first one, when we update the min size, max button rec size.x, but they are small, like they are thin. So the min size, we want to get it from the parent container, right? And if you see in the editor, it kind of works. So what if it's very weird for me that it, okay, I'm going to go to Emacs. It's easier like that. .x, right? Control.rec size.x is size.x. So no, this is the only place we do that. Is it just the size flag of this one? Yeah, it's not set to expand. If I set just this to expand, does it? It doesn't. Because you have the whole column width. You have the VBox container that should apply stuff to the children. Is it being shrinked because of the scroll container? No, because I had the thing being wide before, right? It is taking the whole width. And in the editor, this is taking the whole width. So what if I reset that in the scene? With the tool mode, sometimes some of those things can be a bit finicky, right? So I'm going to reload the scene. And they do expand to 725. The min size resets through the code. Okay, let's see if I set this to 800. What happens if I increase it? Now they get reduced to fit the width. No, they become too long again. But if I try to set it to 1000, they push the thing out, right? So that's not... and because of the code now, I get stuck with that. Wait, rect min size. I changed the Y, but I don't change the X from the code anymore. So why is it... I'm gonna see if I reopen the project manager and reload the live editor. Build similar thing to this expand button, 4 lines and a VBox container. Yeah, but we need animations and nested things, and so that's why we're bothering to do that. So now this won't let me... Okay, I need to reset the size, do something like that, and reload the save scene. So yeah, what we're doing adds quite a lot of complexity. All right, so I was saying that to my teammate actually when we started, but that was that thing like, yeah, this is for animation, also okay, well, might as well try to get this right now. Okay, but it's very weird because I would expect with the size flags we have to expand. I would expect this to just take the whole horizontal space, but maybe because it's a contain... Oh. Column? Expand on the X? Okay, so maybe that was... Okay, we're getting there. So this is expanding. What about here? Had that thing... I have something that's pushing the node out. And so min size is gonna be 0. Why is it making it so big? We're going to shrink the lesson panel as much as we can. Okay, now there's something pushing this, but why is that? I don't see anything with a size that's too extreme. We're going to reset that. Look, we're going to reset everything to 0 in there because it's bothering me. Xi 0, and normally it should be set correctly when running the scene. I'm going to code in a 3D tutorial. We'll do 3D when Godot 3 comes out. Look, it's weird because it's looking okay-ish in the editor now. We're starting to... Yeah, we're going to make everything visible by default. Okay, I know it hides everything because it's not expanded. See, the box is fine. All right. First, I want to remove the print. Then I want to... Is the app gonna be released? Yes, it will. We'll open source it. It will support mobile, but because you need your keyboard, you're not going to be able to use it too well on your phone. I mean, it'll be HTML5, so yeah, I would like to know why this is getting so messy. Button still looks okay. The button got a large size at some point, and now I'm not resetting the size of the button, so I need to do that from the code somewhere. Button.size.x is equal to rect min size.x. And that should be rect size. There you go. All right. Horizontal, fine. Vertical, problem is it doesn't skip the invisible nodes, which is weird. So when expanding it, we expand. Okay, we're going to reload because when we expand the thing and the hints become visible, the height is getting set to the hidden thing that we have in there. So that's the last bug. And hopefully with that, everything will work right. So what's happening? If the node is not visible, you should continue, right? You should just skip hidden children, which makes it so top doesn't get set and blah, blah, blah. So the rect min size equals to height. And the chevron, I want to fix that as well. The height, because what do we use the height for? Okay. Right. We don't use it anymore inside the function. So I'm going to remove the argument. Hope you don't mind too much. It's going a bit slow, but normally rotating the chevron should not involve any particular calculation. It's just part of this control. So okay, so yeah, there's really that thing. I want to use the debugger here to see why this should be running, right? And we should be skipping basically everything. Yet the height of the goal node, if I show it, is being taken into account somehow. So if you're not expanded, the nodes should be invisible. And if they are invisible, we start at the button's rect size, and then we go over everything. Maybe you can use the tree node. No, we can't because we need to do animation and other things. That's why we're making a container. I'm gonna keep the bottle in there. This should be here because it's the height. Why is the height? Print the name. Okay, we're going to print the name is expanded and the rect size. So it's going to be name is expanded and rect min size. Okay. You can see it's running a couple times, which is not good either. I need to reduce number of times. Hints. Yeah, see. 5 by 5 goals. Where's goals? Goals is there. See, there's the goal inside, so it is taking the rect min size. And why is the height getting there? Height equals stop. New reveal a height. No. I'm not going to make the logic custom. We're going to use update min size because I think now we changed this. We can call that function without bugs. But now, there are a couple of things that are a bit tricky. It's that, yeah, this gets called a couple times because things go through setters. So you go through is expanded. Maybe this gets called first, the reveal a height. And then in ready, I don't want to update the minimum size. Child button, we update the contents. Then we set is expanded. And I think is expanded gets called at first through the setter because it has a default value. And it still creates this problem. Because once we get that, once we get that done, that code fixed, then we can just animate the values. And so you'll have the thing just appearing like that with clipping. Isn't there a debug print? Yeah, absolutely. It's print debug or print error and print stack to get the stack trace. Actually, print stack would be a good one. Thanks. No, print stack is the stack trace. I guess, well, let's try print debug to see what is the output. Yeah, no, it just prints a line, so that's not useful. But yeah, it could print the stack trace. Okay, we're just going to print normal. Come on. While we print, sometimes the code edit is Control Z doesn't work. I've noticed print stack, and we're going to do something. If rect min size.y y is greater than 100, right? Because I don't want everything to, just want when the size is off, I want it to print, right? So I have a couple that are hints. Get the same sort children. So I have the notification children get sorted. Okay, I see why. It's probably because at first everything gets updated, so then it propagates up, and it's like you have to call sort children a couple times, especially on hints that has goal 3, hints 3, goal 2, hints 2. So maybe it gets called multiple times because various things update. Why is there an output overflow? It's not that much print. Okay, this one is a bit trickier than I thought. I might be leaving it there for now. Because otherwise we're going to get stuck on that for a while. I don't have a super clear mind right now. But there's definitely something like, at some point, this, right, this here, gets the height of the children that might be visible at first. Although no, though, right? visibility doesn't change anything because this one is expanded. So, okay, I'm not going to expand you by default. And see, no, it's still the same. This is not expanded, but still the height is somehow, some way too large. And yeah, we use the latest version of Godot just because it has some features that are big improvement for us, especially when it comes to the theme, but also JavaScript for the web stuff. So okay, this means that probably, but it's really weird that this happens with the sub revealers, right? But it does not happen. For example, if I were to remove this one and have the goals at the top, right? It's really the sub revealer only that's having the problem. It's not the parent one. And so why is the sub one having this issue is what I'm wondering. So there's the button's rect size in there, and then update the minimum size. The rect min size is the height. And always, I don't think too many other places where we set that. Rotate chevron rect min size to what? I'm going to remove this code for now. I'm going to comment it out. No. Hi everyone, if I'm a bit slow, it's been more than a month without breaks. Not more than a month, it's been since September. I didn't take days off, so I'm starting to slow down a bit, especially for coding and all. My ideas are not always very clear. Well, I've got to keep going until the end of the Kickstarter, because there are still videos and all to do right now. But I think I'm starting to look at this for too long, and this gets skipped, right? So if I print the index here, it should be varving right at 0. Stays at 0. So if I print the height here from Salt Children, it should be, yeah, 47. It's just a base calculation for the thing, so that's fine. But then if I print it here, and I'm gonna say name is hints2, print my height. I have the other thing, but the height is 47. But then here it's different. Button and rect size, rect min size is height. Let's get with the height, and I'm not going to print the stack. If just name is hints2, right? So right now it's not expanded, and hints2's height is 47, and now I expand it, and the height is still 47. Now I expand it, the height is to 52. Name equals hints, then I'm going to, well, it's just Okay, just have two. If hints in name, that's why I get the 2. All right, so by default, everything's fine. I'm going to move it to the other screen for a second. And then when I expand this one, it's very strange because the parent one has a size of 506, which suggests it takes the height of the child. So what... When it's expanded, it's fine, but when I fold, it's still there, and you can see hints to updates before hints, right? And the rect min size is 47. Oh, and I need to remove that one. Right, and it still gets this height here. The height is still too high, so it means that it runs through here. And the node is still visible, so that there's probably an update problem. Not nodes dot visible should skip equals should skip, and node is revealer, and not node dot is expanded. Ah, come on. Can't infer the type. Not Boolean is a Boolean. Ah, it's because it doesn't know the type of the node. Node.hasProperty is expanded. Not hasProperty. Wait. Has method, has prop, has variable. No. Object, has method, has signal. We don't have has property. Oh, we're going to use has method. Duck typing. Has methods. Set is expanded because we have a setter, right? It's worse. Now, you should skip, you continue. Yeah, the button height is fine. Why using print instead of using... It's because you get too many breakpoints. This is the new syntax highlighting in Godot 3.4. New default colors. Like, you can use the debugger, but those things get called so many times, it's a pain. So I can go a bit faster by having my prints here because I get the names of the nodes, right? Okay, I don't know for now with that thing. Because normally the skip should be fine, things should be invisible, right? And the height in there is correct. That's the thing. That's what I don't understand. When I print the height in here, it's fine. And then if I expand, I go hints to. No, actually the height gets set to 506, meaning, okay, So, well, I guess we can do that. The problem is going to be a lot of what? You don't run this line of code debugger. When I click OK, now I can hover over the top here. And this is fine. And this is 506, right? And self is hints. The reveal height is fine. The height is 47. The top is already 506, so it's in the fit child function that does that, right? And the height is the controls rectangle size dot y. What about rect min size in there? $301. Okay, might have been just that. Huh. It's because the rect size was still incorrect at this stage. But the min size is fine. All right, well, this is fixed. I didn't expect that, but okay. That was that. And now I can restore the, do I have any prints left? No, it's fine. The kinds of things also it's that I'm used to doing. Example, let's say, so I'm going to save and update. Okay. And say I have multiple prints in my code and all. The thing is, you don't have a good external debugger support in Godot right now. We do have some plugins to interface with the debug server and those kinds of things, but because you don't, removing the breakpoints or setting them from an external editor is not great right now. So I'm used to doing things like that. I have commands like G in Emacs where I can remove all the lines that call print, right? Okay, so add nesting support to revealers, and I think the text shifting got fixed as well with that change. Yes. So that's two things fixed at once. All right. And the next bit is going to be committing, but I need to restore there we go, because there's no reason not to keep the rotation animation in there, and all that is working. Okay, and now let's see if we can animate the thing. Shouldn't be too hard. Interpolate property, interpolate the rect min size. Okay, so this is not something I necessarily want to do there. Although I'm updating the min size from rect min size to, so I don't want to go to 2. I want to go to height. What was the rect min size? Rotate chevron. We're gonna set this to target angle. And it's the rect rotation, and the rect rotation is in degrees, it seems. Right, I'll check that, but as other angles are in radians in Godot, I do want to rotation and pivot in degrees. Okay. So target angle I'm going to do that like that. Okay, so we rotate the thing. And then it's not when rotating, I don't necessarily, well, I can animate to the size, and the time we're going to set it to 0.4, let's say. Let's see if we do get the animation there. The tween is there. Okay, so when we update the min size, actually it's, I guess I'm gonna move this to there, right? Update the min size. I'm not going to set this instantly. We're going to interpolate the y min size. And of course, yeah. Only when the tween is inside the tree. Because of course, on the initial setter, it's not going to work. The identifier is not there. Okay. Huh. And now we need to clip the content. And that should give us a simple starting point. Rect, clip the content. And voila. Look at that. That's what I was telling you, is as soon as we get the thing working, we can very easily add the animation. Just with the UI system in Godot, it's a bit like that. It's if you get the sizes and all working, then you can animate the values afterwards with a tween or. Let's see. Just do demo if you have experience with code and code. Yeah, GDScript is pretty cool. I would say it's definitely, you know, if you like your program to be really fast, use GDScript as the glue to call stuff on the backend, and Godot is in C++. So even if GDScript itself is a slow language because you call so much code that's inside of Godot, you actually run a lot of fast code, and GDScript is the front end. If you start to do a lot of logic in GDScript, this part is not going to be very fast, but for interfaces, you don't use so much, right? Can I get a shout out? Shout out to DuckDuck Gaming. I don't know what people have with that. Anyway, just give me I'm just gonna be right back, gonna get some more water. Get a very short break. And I want to say, when is the app going to be released? No ETA, a demo in November for sure. There's no garbage collection in Godot. So yeah, if you use a language like C#, there's a garbage collector, but GDScript doesn't have it. It instantly allocates, removes memory by default with the nodes, etc., and you can use the object class, right? You can just use the object class to do your memory management if you want to. Or use C++, all those kinds of things. But by default, it's just reference counting. Hi, and yeah, I just want to add a constant in there. Const anim duration. And let's go back to 0.2, and I had that 0.4 in there in two places. So I'm just going to remove that and go anim duration. Okay, so it's going to be a bit faster. One thing I don't understand is, despite it being set to 0.2, it's a bit slower than I would expect, right? So I wonder if it's really using my anim duration in here, because this is too, well, I'm just going to, there's definitely a problem with the, there you go. Okay, now this is looking fine. This is the kind of feel I'm looking for. Aha, when folding, well, we'll have to do, I've managed to have a bug. Because the height calculation should be instant, so the tween target, I guess if the tween is running, right, we need to cancel it. Normally it always goes from the current rect min size to height, so That should work, but maybe tween dot stop, and we're gonna go get the tween class stop method. There's a stop method, right? Object key. Okay, so tween dot stop self. What's happening? And okay, and we're gonna get this one, and that should help. So this is the kind of testing you want to do, right? Try to break the thing. Okay. Let's see if I think that was that, right? The issue, but all right. We're going to call it a day for now. I'm just gonna add that feels like more than 0.1 the way it lasts. But well, maybe not. So maybe it's my perception that is wrong. So okay. Modify the navigator. Okay. Of let's say feature animate revealers. Fix. What was the fix? I think the fix is in there, right? All the code changes. Okay, we use these lines here to. We use these lines to generate change logs to give people an idea of everything we do. So that's why I'm writing multiple lines in the commit. I'm willing to pay for the app. Well, it's good that it's going to be free and open source, so you won't have to pay. Yeah, garbage collection has issues with games, actually. So in a language like C#, you always have to pull things, which seems... I'm not very big on low-level programming and performance, but it seems that there's... I've always had issues with garbage collected languages in games. I've done JavaScript, I've used C# as well, and there's always been those problems with freeze frames, right? For things that were just you were creating, deleting things as part of the game, like normally, and you had to use pulls everywhere because at some point, if you do that in a garbage collected language and the garbage collector kicks in, it's going to be just yeah, slow. It's going to freeze for a split second or something like that, and you don't want that to happen. I don't know. I've heard that the Go garbage collector is fast, right? But I've never seen used it in something like a game where it can cause a freeze frame. Are these tech videos made on a regular basis? So the live streams like that, no. During the Kickstarter, we're releasing videos pretty much daily, and the live streams are part of that. It's in part to promote the course we're making, but also it's a period where we can just focus on doing those things. Focus a lot of time on videos, because the rest of the time we have too much work on other things. Like, it's a bit difficult to keep up. I'm gonna look to have people who can work on the channel and balance things out moving forward, so we can have videos more regularly. Anyway, we fixed the revealer height being wrong, incorrect. Revealer calculated height being incorrect. Height calculation. That fixed also the revealer being offset horizontally. And finally, that fixed the revealer being too wide. Yeah, okay. Okay, and I'm going to push those real quick. And so how many tasks did we tackle? Test adding hints and listing goals. So that was fine. It's just to test the thing. And okay, we have 2 more. That's all done. Make the interface resizable or a bit more flexible for the user and design lesson completion with particles. Okay, we're going to work on that next. And so I'm just going to go to the restroom real quick and I'll be right. I'm back. Thank you for the wait, for waiting. Michael is saying he's looking forward to the course when it comes in May 2022. So this course we are funding here on Kickstarter. There's just 1 week left. It's gone very well. Just for you, Michael, the course will come out in early access. So we'll probably release the first module or first 2 modules in December. And then we release every month until the course is complete. If you want the full experience, like polished and everything, you want to wait for May, maybe. But we'll be improving as we go based on people's feedback and all. And well, hopefully we have enough experience to release decent modules. We're going to have testers and all before we release each module. So I'll try to be careful with that. When is Godot 4 being officially released? There's no date. Can you make a video on how you learn to create games in Godot? I guess we have a couple that kind of cover that. We have step-by-step tutorials, those kinds of things if you want. We have videos about getting started creating games. All right, the next task is make the interface resizable. Okay, something easy. Nope, I want to go to Godot. Thank you. All right, so for this one, it's pretty simple. I just need to go to this exercise interface. This is how the changes we made look right now. I've been hiding the other button, so yeah. And so now, do we add the margin to the, we have a margin here. And so we need to apply the same to the code editor, right? Whoa. Okay. And the margin should be a bit larger, perhaps. It doesn't have a min size. Is it expanding? Okay, it should expand like that. Otherwise it gets pushed by the the empty game area on the right. All right, so that way we have the margin and everything aligned. And the buttons have an extra margin in there. So I'll have to see how we handle that. But the thing we want there is an H-split container. That's what we're going to put at the top. And some cool things with Godot is just put some things in an H-split container, launch the game, lesson panel, the title label. Okay, I'm just going to go the good old way, find node, something you can use a lot with UIs because they're not so complex, is you just go find the nodes. So you can move them around without breaking your code. Same thing here, code editor, find the node, code editor, and there you go. So now we have a resize things, but we don't have space to resize. Everything is already being pushed there. So this is gonna expand. The game view is expanding as well. I'm not going to expand you, but I'm gonna give you a min size of 400 pixels, right? Is it still within the bounds in there? Once we change that, we break everything. Okay. This is set to take the full rectangle, right? And the size flags here are fine, none in particular. This one doesn't, and this one expands vertically but not horizontally. Actually, I should set this one probably to expand vertically if you resize the game window. So here the problem is the size in there is not necessarily the max we can get, so probably we need another H-split container as a parent to resize between, because the 8, it only takes, let me see, H-split, it only splits between 2, right? All right. So, we need these two nested in there. All right. So I have a grabber here. Why don't I have one appearing? I have one. It's just difficult to grab. I can't get the thing to resize. We're going to expand you to take the whole horizontal width, right? Now I can do some resizing in there, but it only resizes the code editor that's probably set to expand, while the lesson isn't. Do you use something like LFS for binary blob assets? No, for now, none. Hey, Johnny. Johnny, who makes videos on the channel. Some really nice tutorials that you can check out about movement in 2D. There are 2 videos from him. Why is it? If I expand you horizontally, it's going to push everything, and now I'm unable. So first, I have difficulty catching the grabber, so that's definitely... Now I can still use this, but then... Yeah, it's very weird. So this, once it's expanded, I get that issue that something is getting its min size, and I guess it's going to be the revealers again, right? That are pushing things, probably. It's something setting its minimum size, and I'm pretty sure this is this one, rect min size, right? And and it's based on the rect size, but the problem is then because it becomes the minimum size, it ends up pushing everything, and see, now I can resize, no problem. The problem is now it doesn't take all the width, it doesn't resize to match the parent. So I'll have to figure that out. Probably I have to take some notes in there because it doesn't expand either. I'll have to see. But at least now we can grab the things. There we go. See, can finally push the thing. What I think is happening on the right specifically is because it happens also when you try to go up. So as you go up, the mouse input gets eaten by the viewport. So you're unable to properly control the grabbers. If I go, okay, I'm going to try to resize to the right. I think if I go left, no problem, and I reach the minimum in here. See, I can't move those things. And I go right. If I go slow, it's fine because I'm still over the grabber. If I go left, no problem, right? I go right too fast, it gets eaten by the game viewport. So this is a separate bug, which is something I think I'm going to tackle separately, right? Whoa, why do we have a print in there? View menu toggle on split contain drag. So yeah, clearly I see. It's clearly something that Xan, my teammate, was debugging, most likely, right? So look, this is the base feature. It's going to be a bit broken, but I think I'm going to add this one as how do we call it? And I'll answer your question in a second. Your questions in a second. So game viewport eats mouse input and prevents from resizing the window, the panels. When dragging a split contains, it's for later for my teammate or I to understand what's the issue. When dragging a split containers handle towards the game viewport, the input gets eaten, and dragging cancel. Okay, and so okay, yeah, there was that thing of maybe I can add that. Okay, add distraction free. This one should be actually pretty easy to do. The idea with that is we're going to use the same shortcut as in Godot. So we're going to call it toggle Zen mode. Right, and I guess, what's a physical key? Okay, Control Z is undo, so it's not going to be Control Alt Z. Or do we do Control Shift F? I'm going to go with the same as in Godot. The idea being that people will transition from the app to Godot, so that might be good. So the idea is to do something like that, right? You're coding and boom, you go full code, probably. So I think we can put it here on the exercise code. Do we have anything about input in there? Nope. So I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with function unhandled input. If event is pressed, toggle distraction free mode. I had it already. I didn't see it in the list. Yeah, I had it here. um, uh, so is active will be the lesson panel is invisible. Right? Is distraction free mode? Yes, if the lesson panel is invisible. And then I can go lesson panel equals not is active, and game, where is the game view? Do we have it? So I set to save button, game console, game viewport. Okay, so this should definitely be underscore game viewport. Unless, yeah, unless something else uses it. Game viewport update kitchen sink exercise. That's not used from the outside. Let's see with the game console. Shouldn't be exposed. Validation manager shouldn't be exposed. Okay, so all three of you. Okay, I'm gonna go to Emacs because I'll be a bit easier. This is the lesson exercise.gd and validation. Okay, we add an underscore, game viewport, we add an underscore, game console. Ah, come on. We add an underscore. Now, and handle input, lesson panel not is active, game viewport not dot visible, of course. There you go. And that should be it. It's about that easy, perhaps. Does not match the variables type. What the? No, this is good. This is just the script not working. The problem is, so maybe this gets handled, right? So GUI input, you should get it first. No, this doesn't run. Distraction-free modes is Control-Shift F11. So what if I go with input? Is there anything intercepting the event? So it means a child is eating the input event. Okay. Is currently active if the lesson. Okay. Is inactive. Wait. The lesson. Gonna use a more explicit name. Distraction free. Yeah, this is the thing, right? Lesson panel is invisible. Is visible. We negate the thing, so if I negate it again, it doesn't work. Yeah, bingo. Now it's working. Except that this is not taking the whole screen. We need to center it, right? So we can use that. We have the margin here, and we can use center container. And of course, the code editor is expanding. The center container is not. You're set to expand. It's weird. It's very strange. This is just to center it in the screen, on the screen, right? The margin container adds a bit of margin. Center container centers the thing. Use stuff left. Okay. That I don't get, because the container is taking all the space, and the code editor, although it's set to expand and it's a panel container, so it should be pushing around. Okay. You can you double as a type? Can you use double as a type, I guess? No, I mean you have float, but probably under the hood there are doubles. I made a typo in the code. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so distraction-free mode not working as expected for now. I do want to center this, but why is that not happening? It's set to expand. If I remove the expand, might be able to shrink the size, right? But I set it to expand. Maybe we can set it full rect, but no, it does not work. Why is that? You're inside the container. Revealer. There's an error in there in the tool mode. Well, that's fine for now. Pausing the game. And this is really this is really the panel container that doesn't resize to the center container, right? Because if I move it as a child of the margin, no problem. So maybe now I can put the margin in the center container and the same happens. Even though the margin container is set to expand. What if I add a panel in there? It's gonna make it small, and then I expand and fill. No, it contracts it still to its minimum size, I guess. Okay, so we're just going to forget about the center container for now. And our distraction-free mode is just gonna make the code editor very large. And this on the right, I don't know why. It stays like that because it's set to expand as well. So if I hide the game and I hide lesson panel, see, that's what should happen. But it's I'm hiding the game viewport and not the game container. That's why. Okay, that's just what I need to do then. Game container, do I have it? Game viewport console lesson panel. Game container. And this is going to be game container. Dot find node here. And here I need to change game container. It should be good. There we go. You have distraction-free mode. Yeah, content of the center container. Thanks, Yuri. Yuri is the... is that you? No, it's incorrect. Sorry, I didn't check. I thought you were the developer who worked on the theme editor. I have a bit of a margin here from the V split. So, okay, but that will do for now. So, okay. Navigator, we don't change it. Code editor. I think your issue is that you don't use Rust. Yes. Oh, it's you. Sorry, I didn't recognize the picture. I thought you had a beard. Somehow. for some reason. So Yuri here is the person who made the theme editor we've been using, and he does lots of contributions, like the minimap for the visual scripting language. He's a core developer now. You helped on the docs, I remember, like giving lots of feedback at least, and I don't know all the details, but okay, so feature, add distraction, create mode. Okay, and while we at with that, okay, next would be the lesson completion pop-up. This is an old picture, that's why. Okay. What time is it? 10:30, so we're a bit past the planned time for the thing, but can we do something different, right? We have the lesson completion pop-up. I think that might be interesting to some of you because this involves designing a little UI widget from scratch. So we're going to do that, and then I'll answer your questions and close the stream probably. Completed assignment, right? Very simple thing. Nothing too impressive, but we do have a bar at the top, right? That can be done maybe with top border. I don't know if they round out when you use them only on one side. You've completed lesson 1. Nice. Okay. This is very quick too. Like creating widgets like that in Godot is very easy. So I'm going to create a new scene, and it's going to be a UI scene, but what I want is probably, will I use a panel container? And maybe we're going to start with that. And inside we're going to put a panel with a minimum size set to 500, 400. I'm going to select the panel container and by default center it. The reason to use a panel container, the good thing you get is you can create outlines on hover very easily with that. I think most of the UI nodes in Godot are a mess. For me, the main thing, it's interesting because people say it's a big mess and like I struggle with it and all, but you have to understand this project is not trivial. It's an app, and the center container thing was an inconsistency. This one definitely has that, I would say, if it doesn't take into account the size flags. I would expect it to, right? But that aside, no, actually, if you've used Qt or Qt or I don't know, I didn't use too many others, but even the web, like HTML, CSS, when people tell me it's much easier. Okay, you have the grid and things like those these days that are fine, but no, it's very complicated to get the layouts you want. You need to learn a ton of stuff, and it's inconsistent across browsers and those kinds of things. So, it could use some clarifications. I think it's getting some for Godot 4 because there are some breaking changes to do that. If I remember seeing something like that, but that aside, no, I think this one's very nice and powerful. But making UIs in general, like when they need to do quite a lot of stuff, they are not easy. They are not that easy. Things need to interact with one another and resize based on how others resize and those kinds of things. But a simple game UI, no problem. It's for me, it's super fast with that. And yes, I use the evil mode in Emacs. So Vim key bindings. Okay, let's keep going, and I'm going to attach my theme in there to the root node temporarily just to preview it as I'm making the things. So I want a couple things. I'm going to see if I can do this on the, sorry, I'm going to look for the panel and panel normal and duplicate this one. And we're going to use a panel lesson complete This is just to test something I haven't tried actually. I want to see if I use the border. Gonna use the green color. With the corners, does it work if I do this? It does round out. Makes sense. Because I want something straight at the top. Okay, so I'm not going to use this. I'm going to keep the default panel style. I'm going to remove that and apply this there. And so what I'm going to do is probably use a VBox container. I'm going to use a cheap trick for now, use a progress bar in there. And the panel inside the VBox container, nope, because I'm going to use them like that then. Yeah, in the panel container, that's gonna get resized, right? So, all right, progress bar, it's going to be 100 here for the value, and we're going to hide the percent, and boom, we get our little top bar. So now I want that to be a bit wider, and so I'm gonna set this to be a bit wider. Well, I guess I'm going to use min size here, 400 here, and reset that on the panel. And as part of the VBox container, I'm going to use, we don't have spaces, right? We just have, okay. So we're going to drag, do I have a title here? No, I just have my regular label. So we're going to drag, add a label with the title font. Title big. Okay, the text is not that big. And it's going to be, we're going to align center. Then we're going to add in there an, how is it called? Separator. H separator. Did I make it invisible by default? No, it's visible. It's just the size. Okay. The separator, do I want it to expand horizontally, right? Maybe I don't want it to fill. I want it to shrink center and to have a minimum size of 600, 400. Maybe I want it to align with text below that, but I'm going to do this a bit differently, right? We're going to change the font on this one. It's going to be the font title, subtitles. Like in my project, the size flags just don't work. I set it to expand. Parent doesn't get bigger when this child does. Yeah, I think it's just, you have to understand some things. What is for sure is that Godot doesn't work like the web, right? It's a bit different. So the parent resizes if it's a container and you resize the child, you change the minimum size. But if the nodes are just regular nodes like panels and all, they will not resize automatically. So you either have to use the anchors and layout options to, so the anchors make it so the things resize, or you have to use containers. These are the two workflows you use for automatic resizing. Example, if I change the size of my panel container, because I have containers here, the things resize. If I were to make that larger, you can see I don't need the size flags at all in there. But if I say this is 1000 wide, the parents are going to resize, as you can see. So you just have to wrap your head around that thing. And I totally understand this is not always very clear. All right, I'm probably going to use just a separator in there, but make it invisible. All right, so I'm going to override this. I'm going to use a style box empty and the separation 40. I'm just basically making a box to push things down a bit. and we're going to have a button at the bottom. So I'm going to use, okay, I'm going to call it spacer, and this is going to be spacer 2, and spacer 2. We're going to move you down there and make you a bit big as well. And I think the VBox container here, the theme on the right, I want to have a bit more spacing, and we're going to add a button at the bottom. There you go. So the button is going to be, because you can see, for example, here I'm not struggling at all, right, to make this interface, just making it bit by bit. So I want the size to be, let's try 60 pixels and 60 pixels tall, and we're going to say, got it. All right, and there I'm going to change the styles because, so now I can test this. I'm going to save it into our exporter, UI components, and this one is, I left the name of, how do we call that? Lesson done pop-up. Okay. So I want to change the fonts a bit. Okay, this gets squashed a bit at runtime. There I do want borders on these buttons. The spacer is a bit too big. Okay, so first, why does this get squashed? I guess it's because of the, it's not expanding, it's the minimum vertical size. Okay. You can see now it's fine, and the spaces are a bit too big, and the fonts are not exactly what I want. So maybe I'm going to make them custom here. I'll have to see. Thanks, Razvan, for your time. Talk to you later. I was wondering, is the entire platform you're building for education built with Godot? This application, yes, the client is entirely in Godot, and the server right now is in JavaScript. I try to avoid putting in constant pixel values. Yeah, you kind of have to, at least you have to put the calculations in code. That's for sure. Otherwise, you've got to use I guess the containers all the way, probably, if you don't want to do that. Okay, so the button styles, we're going to make some styles in there. I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna make some new ones called button outlined. Right, the buttons with the outline, and the normal style is going to be, I want the same border color. Right, so border color is going to be that one. I guess this is that one from the thing. And border width is going to be 12, 12, 12, 12. No, this is too much. We're going to be 6, 6, 6, 6. It's a bit too big still. I'm going to go for okay, and so that's that. And we're gonna make the button a bit bigger. I guess 200, like I had it at the beginning. And we're gonna make some other styles. So duplicate this one. This is gonna be pressed. Well, I'm gonna go with pressed and hover, right? The usual combo. Okay. So for the hover one, I need to change the border color. Do I go white? Close to white. Background color, no, but and I need to change the font color as well. But by the way, I agree that some things could be more explicit, right? In the, or more intuitive, I guess, in the UI system. Font color pressed is going to be the same when you click back. It's, or do we make it a bit darker? Let's see. Okay, click. Yeah, this looks a bit more pressed right there, right? And so the hover outline, we're not using it yet, so we're going to put it in there. Amongst the thing that could be clearer is that if you want, it might be a matter of, it's just some things to, I would see reorganized in there, but again, I think it's being done for the next version of Godot. And in particular, the interaction between the margins, for example, I never edit the margins by hand. The anchors as well, like best use the editor tools for that. So yeah, there are lots of ways in which the properties interact that is not clear. Things hidden in rect, which is very important, I think. It could be at the top, you know, those kinds of things. Until it releases, how would you suggest starting out in terms of programming? We have a series called Getting Started with Godot in 2021. It's completely free and it corresponds to the official Documentation's Getting Started series. It gives you, we don't have a course for Godot to get started with programming straight. So what this does is it redirects you to a course called CS50. And this is one of the best you will find out there to understand the skills you need as a developer, how the machine works, and it covers several languages. It goes a bit fast, but starts with Scratch, so Visual, then C, and then Python. And it's I recommend it because the teacher in there is really, really good at making parallels with the real world. Actually, this project while making for Godot is because lots of people don't want to go watch a course like that. So while making something specific to Godot, because people want to learn making games, right? And you're not going to force them to go watch a course they don't want to watch. So yeah, that's what we're doing. But this course is great, regardless. Okay, my button, I do want to change the font color in there when hovered over. There we go. And see, you have a little interface in there. I don't know if I want to darken probably the outline when pressed as well. We're gonna go to the border color and make it darker. Is this the color? By the way, just this, the picker we have with our color palette is one of our add-ons. I don't know if we have it online yet, but something made by Razband that was there in the chat. So, okay, I want to make this a bit smaller, 340, let's say, and we're going to shrink the size and reduce this spacer and this one as well. Let's go there. Yeah, no, it's still too much. So the spaces are going to be like 20 pixels. Okay, and the last thing we want to do in there is change the text font. The little details. Right now, just put some fonts really quickly, but I do want to use the title, the Montserrat for this one, the second label, which is more like text. I would like to have the other font we have in there, which is Open Sans, and I'm going to call it font text. Let's say 30 point. I don't know if we'll go with 30, but let's see how it goes. Okay, so you completed the lesson. Then well done. The font title is a bit font title big. I guess I called it big. font title, lesson complete. I think I'll name them. Yeah, well, I'll call it font title lesson done. And this was 32 and we're gonna go 48. I guess like a really large thing. Okay. And the second label, I called it 30 point, but I'm going to call it lesson done. And then I need to make this a little larger, or I could use, I guess, margin container in there. Haha, but no. I need the margin container. Inside of that, then another container. I don't like to do that too much. I'm just going to make this a bit taller. All right. And there we go, creating a widget from start to finish with all the styles. I think it looks fine. And then I do want to change the text color in this one. One idea for this later on would be to do something like you completed the lesson. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna need I definitely need a margin container in there to be able to change the text dynamically depending on the things we're going to write in this panel, because the idea is to say you completed the lesson, you learned X, Y, Z, right? Or use this skill, that skill, that skill. Okay, so the margin container is going to give us the margin in there. I have a progress bar. In the VBox container, I had put a high separation. But I'm going to set it to 0 in there. Override with 0. Because I want control over the margin I get exactly, right? For this panel specifically. And we can go back to 340, and then we have the second VBox container that's going to have, yeah, we had that, right? All 16, 12, all right, and now things compress as we make changes. And so if I go, you learned, colon, blah, 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 it's resizing automatically, which is cool. So we have the layout. Then adding the code to close it is pretty simple. If you want to see how you code your typical component, it's very, very quick. Go input. If no, not that at all. I'm going to grab my button. It's going to be button. Okay, as button. I use casting for the types, basically. For this type inference to work, by default, it'll only work if the scene is open or at runtime. But to ensure that the types are correct, we use this casting. Make this for Mac when it's done. It will be web-based, so it should work on Mac as well. And so, yeah, we're going to do the ready function. So we connect signals in code most of the time to be able to do text search on them. Button.connect, pressed here, self, Q3. There we go. And that's how typically you open and close UI elements. You just create them and destroy them. I recommend doing that in general because A, instancing a UI is really fast, and B, if you have any bug in your menu, you make something a bit complex and all, and there's any bug, when the user has the problem, at least they can close the thing, reopen, and this is a fresh menu, so they can re-trigger the bug perhaps, but they can reopen the menu without the bug, without getting stuck, right? Okay. Oh, there are lots of broken things in here, but I guess I have an idea why. We need the code to take those things into account, but okay, we have the panel done, and this is our last task for now because I'm starting to lose my voice. Okay. modal modal panel for when the lesson is complete. Okay, that's it for today. Stream. Are there any questions? Anything you want to know? Let's see. I'm gonna go to the stream page. You have any guides or shortcut keys in Godot? No, but you can go to editor settings, shortcuts, and see the list in there. It's not so long, excuse me. And I think you can, let's see if you type control, for example, you will see instantly all the shortcuts that involve control. That's not every shortcut in the editor, but there you go. Now, probably a couple pages in the docs, but I don't know if they are completely up to date, right? Any other questions before we close the stream? All right, I'm waiting a bit because there's a little bit of delay. What does the course teach us? Okay, so one Kickstarter right now to fund this app and a course to learn to code from zero. Now you can find some information if you go down the Kickstarter page about the modules. It will have 7 modules, and I think there's a short description of each of them in here, right? So you're going to get started with code, learn the GScript programming syntax. Going further, get into data structures, objects, classes, object-oriented programming, those kinds of things. Then start to focus a bit more on the Godot API. How do you do input, draw things, move things around? Then we're going to talk about thinking like a programmer, thinking about your code structure, performance a little bit, even as beginners, things that are, we're not going to go very in-depth, for example, about performance, but something like how you can increase your performance by using more of Godot's things, keeping your code simple, avoiding to have the engine do things it doesn't need to, or having code that is, for example, it's more about the mindset. For instance, trying to make things general is a pitfall that many developers fall into, and often it makes things more complex. They create objects, they create that flexible construct that they don't end up using necessarily, and you do a lot of work that you don't need to do with much more code than you need. This is very, very common. So we're going to talk about things like those, then creating a complete game that is going to be based on those graphics if you want to, or you'll be able to use a pack from Kenny's assets or your own art. But to explain a bit more how this is going to work, we're going to teach you lots of programming concepts. And so we're going to have lots of demos, a bit like the ones we would have in, let's see if I can open a new instance of Godot, in there in Node Essentials, right? So we're going to have you create lots of things like what you would see in there, which I call toys, right? You're going to make a ship that moves, or I don't know if it's going to be a ship, but a little character that does this or that thing. And every time the idea is to focus on one programming concept to teach you how to think in terms of, you first have the design, then you turn it into a problem, and then you break down the problem into smaller problems that match the way the computer works. This is the skill you want to build if you want to learn to code, and some things we don't really get to do in tutorials. Us, other people, this is very common. It's very difficult to teach that because it takes lots of small practices like those, right? Especially as often people want to get results. So we have to find a good balance between having you get results fast, so with little game-like apps, and learning the things you want to learn to be able to make your own games. So that's the kind of general idea. Then each of the toys and projects you're going to see in the course are going to depend entirely on what we need to teach, right? If we're going to teach about text or about dictionaries, for example, we're probably going to have you make the foundations of an inventory. That would be one way to do it. There you go. Question like how do I make a Mega Man style camera in Godot is not something I can show you right there. You would add a camera to the node, make it current, and I'm not sure what the Mega Man style camera does, but you should have about everything you need on the camera when you create that node. If I go to the inspector, you make it current, and then you can enable, disable the drag margins, which are going to make the camera drag behind the character a little bit. If you want it to move with the character, you just make the camera 2D and it'll just work. And then you can use the limits to, if the camera should only move horizontally and follow the character, you just set the limits so it can't go up or down. And so even if the character goes up or down, you limit that. Those are some tips to get you started. Anyway, okay. Are you planning an indie game or something else than courses and tutorials? Yes, so the game we're making as part of that course is going to be open source. And the idea is to make a complete game from it. So if we go to the channel, you'll find a video that I'm going to link to you. Oh, look, we're live. Anyway, this one, 2 minute video that just talks briefly about that. You can check this out. Hopefully that answers the questions. Anything else? All right, I guess it's time to close then. Thank you everyone for joining, for watching the stream. Is there, there's a question, is there some way to get a 3D model pixelated in 2D? So the way they did it in Dead Cells is they made it in Blender or something and they rendered all the pictures and then it's actually 2D sprites, I believe. So they are rendered like that using their 3D content creation tool. If you wanted to do it in real time, this might be a bit expensive. You would need a viewport for each character model, playing the animations, and then display it on a texture downscale, and be careful about the filtering that you use. Release date for this app, none. We'll release it when it's ready. And for the course, in early access in something like December, right? Something like that. I can't wait for us to release the app, and I'm pretty sure you're going to see clones on the app stores and those kinds of things, because it's been a long time since I released a mobile game, but it's crazy how much they get copied illegally. Normally, like you make a closed source game and people just retake it and republish it en masse. And then if it's open source, well, they can just do it legally. So that's that, at least. All right, we're going to close here. Have a good night, day, something like that. And I wish you a good end of the weekend. Thanks for watching. Be creative, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.